So now I'll be moving on to the internal anatomy of the sheep heart. I'm going to start off with the pentinate muscles, which are ridges of smooth muscle in the inner wall of the right atrium. They resemble the teeth of combs. So looking at the internal anatomy of the sheep heart, this right here is the pentinate muscles. So again, they resemble somewhat of sharp teeth. The myocardium, which I mentioned before, is once you remove the epicardium, what we see is the myocardium. But on the internal sheep heart is the middle muscular layer of the heart. The myocardium of the right ventricle, and this is the myocardium of the left ventricle, and this is the myocardium of the right ventricle. So again, the myocardium on the left ventricle is thicker than that of the right ventricle because the left side of the heart works harder to pump blood to the entire body, whereas the right side of the heart only pumps blood through the lungs. So moving along, we have the trabeculi carni muscles, which are ridges on the internal surface of the ventricle. So they are internal muscles. So these areas right here are the trabeculi carni muscular ridges. The interventricular septum, which I ripped through, is this right here on the middle. And then moving along, the bicuspid, which valve connects the left atrium to the left ventricle. So again, the bicuspid valve connects the left atrium to the left ventricle. So as we can see right here, this right here is the bicuspid valve, which connects the left atrium, the top, to the left ventricle, the bottom. The tricuspid valve is between the right atrium and the right ventricle. So if we look on this side, the tricuspid valve connects the right atrium from the top to the right ventricle in this area. And it's like right here. And also within the internal examination of the sheep heart, we have the choroidae tendineae, which connects the papillary muscles to the atrioventricular valves. They look like tentacles on the jellyfish. So it'll be like right here, these right here. And the cusps of the valve are composed of 2 or 3 cusps. In the right atrium, again, we have the tricuspid valve and its cusp, the pulmonary trunk, which has the pulmonary valve and its cusp, the bicuspid valve which connects the left atrium and the right atrium, and the aorta. Moving along, we have the papillary muscle, which is a cone-like projection on the ventricular walls to which the choroidae tendineae are attached. So, as we can see right here, these are the papillary muscles, and they're attached to the chordae tendineae. Moving along, we have the pulmonary semilunar valve, which is 3 white bumps in the pulmonary trunk. So if we look closely, let's see if we can try to find the pulmonary semilunar valve. So the pulmonary trunk is this trunk right here, and I didn't do such a good job at cutting, but with this being the pulmonary trunk, the pulmonary semilunar valve would be right here. Okay. The aorta semilunar valve allows oxygenated blood to pass from the left ventricle to the ascending aorta. So the aortic semilunar valve will be which passes from the left ventricle to the ascending aorta. So it'll be going in this direction, and it'll be one of these valves. I didn't do such a good cut. And that concludes the internal and external examination of the sheep heart.